Howdy everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. That was definitely one crazy beginning of the 2020 Stanley Cup Playoffs there. Especially in the play-in series where there were definitely some crazy upsets in the Wild West. Especially in the Western Conference here, and then, we gotta wonder how some teams are gonna react that were in the round robin as opposed to the play-in series here. Anyway, let's mosey ourselves down as it's time for another episode of Yahoo! Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to another episode of my Calgary Flames in the Stanley Cup Playoffs here. Here are still in Season 2. Here are up to episode number 17 here. And I figured I had to deck out the cowboy hat to preview the first round series here, as I'm definitely excited for the matchup here. Ultimately, how things played out, I got the team that I wanted to draw here in the Dallas Stars here. And then both, Alberta and Texas being known for big oil country, Western, heritage, hospitality here. Let's call this the Old West series here, or, given how wild the playoff races were in the Wild West, that's another thing that we can make references here too. And also, I had to put on my 2004 Calgary Flames jersey here because there were definitely elements in the play-in series that we had with the Winnipeg Jets that reminded me of that here. So with the task at hand here, we drew the Dallas Stars for the official first round of the 2020 Stanley Cup Playoffs here. So let's get going and start previewing the first round matchup that the Calgary Flames will have with the Dallas Stars here. And this will now officially be the 3-8 matchup here, as the Dallas Stars actually wound up getting the number 3 seed in the round robin there. So they actually upgraded a little because they finished with the 4th seed going in once they figured out the teams for play-in and round robin here. And the Calgary Flames were the 8th number seed here. As the Dallas Stars, they were in the regular season, they were 37, 24, and 8 here for 82 points here. I think they only played 69 games here, which gave them a points percentage of .594. That put them 10th overall in the NHL here. So they were a little higher in the standings than the Calgary Flames were. However, when it comes to the matchup here, I like this matchup for the Calgary Flames in terms of advance here, especially of the 4 teams that were in the round robin. And I made that video where I ranked, who I wanted the most in the first round here, and I did based on ease of schedule and juicy headlines here. And ultimately, you could say I got my wish. Well, hopefully it's not that old saying, be careful what you wish for here. Well, the Calgary Flames, they were 36, 27, 9, and 7 here for 79 points here, or .564 save percentage here. That put in 19th overall here. So that's how the teams looked at the regular season before the pause here due to the global pandemic of COVID-19, which is why we're in the second week of August here, talking about the first round beginning here, and the fact that we're in the dog days of summer, but Stanley has just started. The race for it begins with the round of 16 here. So now, this part of the video, we'll take a look at the season series here, and actually it does favor the Calgary Flames, as the Calgary Flames were 2-1 in the 3 games that they played against the Dallas Stars here, and they got to play all games that were scheduled in the regular season. There were no games that got canceled due to the pause here. So the first game that the Calgary Flames and the Dallas Stars played actually went all the way back to Game 4 here, That was on Thursday, October the 10th here. The Calgary Flames are on the road in Dallas here, and we won the first game 3-2 in a shootout there. So definitely we won't have a shootout in the playoffs here, but the Dallas Stars, when we're looking at the team stats here, they're a very strange team that they don't score much, but they're very stingy here too, so that's definitely going to be something to watch out for. And then the second game here, this was game 21. This happened on Wednesday, November the 13th here. The Calgary Flames were in Dallas again here, but this time the Dallas Stars won 3-1 in that game here, and I felt around the middle of November there to the end of November there, that's when Calgary was actually in their low part of the season here. And then game 38, the last regular season game, the last time that the Flames and Dallas Stars met each other. This happened on Sunday, December 22nd, just before Christmas here. The game was in Calgary here. The Calgary Flames did beat the Dallas Stars 5-1 in that game. So Calgary won the season series 2-1 here, but these games were all played in 2019. So definitely a while ago here, and definitely a lot has changed here. But that's what we have to work with here. And then, of course, let's just recap the playoffs here. That the Calgary Flames, they did play the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup qualifier playing series here. That they won 3-1, where they won game 1 4-1, and then they won game 2, or lost game 2 3-2 here, and then they won game 3 6-2, and won game 4 4-0 here. So that's how the Flames won the series in 3-1 there for best of 5 here. While the Dallas Stars in the round robin here, you gotta wonder if they took this seriously or not, or because they wound up finishing third in the round robin here, but they went 1-2 in the round robin here. In game 1, the first game that the Dallas Stars played was the Vegas Golden Knights. They were down, they lost 5-3 there. Vegas wound up getting the number 1 seed in the round robin there. And then game 2, Dallas played the Colorado Avalanche, who the Colorado Avalanche wound up getting the 2nd seed of the round robin. They got shut out 4-0 there. And then the last game, which definitely Flames fans had interest in, because whoever wound up winning game 3 would have been the team that we would have wound up drawing here. So we knew that after when the Calgary Flames defeated the Winnipeg Jets there, and after that crazy day on Friday when upsets happened, we knew that the Calgary Flames were likely either going to play Dallas or St. Louis here. Well, the Dallas Stars, they wound up beating the St. Louis Blues 2-1. They needed a shootout there. So, and St. Louis did not win any games in the round robin there. So Dallas went 1-2 in the round robin here. But when you look at the hockey that was played in the play-in series and the round robin here, there were a few teams I felt in the round robin that played it a little more seriously than others there, but it was under regular season conditions here, where the teams knew that they at least were going to get into the official round 1, while the play-in series all were under playoff rules here. And based on how I saw Calgary played in the play-in series with the Winnipeg Jets, while the Dallas Stars played in the round robin here, I like our chances here. So now let's look at the team rankings here, and once again we'll bring up the regular season, but we'll bring up the playoff rankings too, as when we look at the Dallas Stars team numbers here, they got some weird stats that gives you an idea on the kind of game they like to play, which gave them the success here. So once again, if you look at the Calgary Flames, goals for, they scored 210 goals in the regular season, which put them 20th in the league. Goals against, they were 215, that put them 16th in the league. Power play, they were 21.2%, which was 12th in the league. Penalty kill, they were 82.1%, that tied them for 8th in the league. And then goals for per game, there was 2.91 goals per game, 20th in the league. Goals against were 3.06, that put them 16th in the league here. And then shots for per game in the regular season, it was 31.6, put them 15th. While shots against was 32.4%. Put 24th here in the save face-off winning percentage. They were 49.1%, which put them 22nd here. Now here's the Dallas Stars. This is where it would be funny to look at some of the stats here, because goals for in the regular season, the Dallas Stars only scored 178 goals. And that was 29th in the league. So they had the third fewest goals scored in the regular season. However, when it comes to goals against here, they allowed 174 goals against. That actually put them second in the league here. So you got the third lowest scoring team in the league, but they were the second lowest goals against team. So they definitely have a stingy defense here. So when it comes to the penalty or power play, it's very comparable with Calgary. They were 21.1%, put them 13th in the league here. But penalty kill, definitely Calgary has the advantage here, as the penalty kill for Dallas in the regular season was 79.7%, put them 17th here. So then when it comes to goals for per game, they score 2.58 goals per game. That puts them down to 26th in the league there. However, goals against per game was 2.52, which was second in the league here. Shots for per game was 30.6, which put them 23rd in the league. And then shots against was 31.6, put them 18th here. And then face-off win percentage here. This is where definitely could give Dallas an edge here, especially if they're in our own end, as they had a 51.8% winning percentage, which put them 5th in the league here. So that was the regular season stats here. However, things get a little skewed a little more in the playoffs here. I mean, it's a smaller sample size. I mean, Calgary played 4 games in their playing series, while Dallas only got to play 3 here. But it definitely shows how the matchup could be potentially favoring Calgary here. Well, goals for, goals against is irrelevant in the playoffs now. But power play, actually Calgary definitely capitalized on the power play at opportunities in the Winnipeg series, as that their power play was 29.4%, which was 5th in the playoffs of the 24 teams here. While the penalty kill, the Flames actually did pretty well in that too against the Winnipeg Jets, as they were 94.1%, which was 6th in the 24 teams in the playoffs. And then when it comes to goals for per game, Calgary scored an even 4 goals per game, which was second most in the teams that were in the playoffs. And goals against per game was 1.5, which put them 4th in the playoffs here. Shots for per game was 32.3, which put them 9th of the teams that were in the playoffs and the round robin. Shots against, they definitely cut that down compared to the regular season there, was 27.5%, which put them 5th in the playoffs here, while the face-off win percentage, they slipped a little, as it was 46% for 18 in the 2014 playoff here. Whatever you want to call it, playoffs here, I mean, I know they are officially calling the playoffs now here. However, the now all the production that each player's had all counted towards into the playoffs. So that's the Calgary Flames playoff team stats. So now when it comes to the Dallas Stars here, well, definitely their power play actually was pretty good, as they were 33.3%, which put them second. So definitely we'll see definitely a mismatch here with power plays here, maybe, or a matchup between both sides here. However, the penalty kill for the Dallas Stars could maybe favor the Calgary Flames here, as the penalty kill was 71.4%, put them 20th in the league. Goals for per game, Dallas was 1.5, which was 22nd in the playoffs here, which was pretty consistent to their regular season based on the sample size. However, goals against was 4.5, which put them last in the playoffs. So at 24th here. And then shots for per game here, well, I mean, the Dallas Stars don't have as much offense, was at 27 even, which was 20th. And shots against, well, they definitely allowed a lot of shots in the round robin, 36.5% at 20, which put them 21st here. And then the face-off win percentage, which was fairly consistent but a little less than the regular season, was still over 50% at 52.1 at 10th in the playoffs here. So the stingy defense with lack of offense on the Dallas Stars, which was their bread and butter, definitely still played on in the round robin here. But I like this matchup still for the Calgary Flames over the Dallas Stars here. So now this part of the video here, we'll look at playoff history here. Now you could say for the Calgary Flames, this is the first time we are playing the Dallas Stars in the playoffs here. However, the Dallas Stars originally were the Minnesota North Stars, and the Flames and Minnesota North Stars actually played in their playoff history. So in this part, we'll take a look at the playoff history for both teams in terms of their whole history. So Calgary will include Atlanta, and Dallas will include the Minnesota North Stars here. So yeah, the last 3 playoff series that, I mean, Calgary's always going to be labeled as a team that has the Atlanta history. But this is the third straight playoff series, if you include Winnipeg and Colorado last year, that Calgary was playing another team that came from a relocated city. So I forgot that. That's from last year. However, the last series with Calgary and Winnipeg was the first time where both teams came from the same city that were relocated in Atlanta. So for the Atlanta Flames, they were in Atlanta for 8 seasons, from 1972 to 73 till 1979 to 80. They made the playoffs in 6 of those 8 seasons. They only missed in 1973 and 1975 here. However, they only won 2 games. They won 1 game in 1977, and they won 1 game in 1980 here. Another interesting thing here is that the New York Rangers was the last team that the Atlanta Flames played. The Atlanta Thrashers also last and only played against New York Rangers. I know the Flames in Atlanta played the Kings twice, and that other win was against the Kings, I believe. Now the Calgary Flames have been in Calgary for 40 seasons, from 1980 to 1991 till now. They made the playoffs. Now we can officially say we're in the playoffs in 24 or 40 seasons there, and they advanced of those 24 times they've been in the playoffs here. They advanced past the first round in only 8 of those seasons. Last time being in 2015. I like our chances to put that in 2020 here. And then of the 8 times that the Calgary Flames went into the conference finals here, they made 4 appearances here in 1981, 1986, 1989, and 2004 here. Out of those 4 appearances there, they went to the finals 3 times here. You'll find out shortly where that one loss came from. In the Stanley Cup Finals, they made 3 appearances in 1986, 1989, and 2004 when we wore these. And then we won the Stanley Cup, let's say, once officially in 1989. And we could debate about 2004 there. So that's the Calgary Flames and Atlanta Flames franchise history here. So now if you look at the Dallas side of the puck here, including the Minnesota North Stars playoff history here, well, the franchise came in after the 1967-68 there with the 6 teams that came into the league from the original 6 era. So the Minnesota North Stars played in Minneapolis-St. Paul from 1967-68 until 1992-93 there, and the Minnesota North Stars made the playoffs in 17 of those 26 seasons there. And out of those 26 seasons that the Minnesota North Stars, I'm just talking about Minnesota here, they went past the first round in 8 seasons there. The last time they did that was in 1991 there, and then they went to the conference finals 4 times in their history, 1980, 1981, 1984, and 1991 here. And then of those 4 appearances that they went to the conference final there, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals twice there. And if you're following along here, it was 1981 and 1991 there. So the Flames and Minnesota North Stars have played in the playoffs before. And then when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, they lost both times. In 1981, they lost to the New York Islanders, and in 1991 they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins there. Both those times when the Minnesota North Stars went to the Stanley Cup Finals there, it was on a Cinderella run there. So that's the Minnesota North Stars part of the history here. So now it comes to the Dallas Stars. It actually works out that this season, the Dallas Stars, the franchise as a whole, has existed for 52 years. Dallas has been the Minnesota North Stars, now the Dallas Stars. There's 26 years, and that's from 1993-94 till present here. And of the times that they've been in the Dallas organization, they have made the playoffs 16 of those 26 seasons, and a lot of that time was fairly recently that they missed here. So the Dallas Stars definitely have had a lot more success than the Minnesota North Stars here, because of the 16 times that they made the playoffs, they waited to pay on the first round in 9 of those seasons there. The last time actually was just this past year here. And then when it comes to the conference finals, they also made 4 conference finals appearances here. 1998, 1999, 2000, and most recently in 2008 there. And then they went to the Stanley Cup Finals twice in 1999, 2000 there. And they won their only Stanley Cup in 1999 there, where Joe Nieuwendyk won them the Conn Smythe Trophy, and then they lost in 2000 against the New Jersey Devils there. So that's the playoff history of both franchises here. And as I said, playoff history, Calgary and Dallas have never played each other. However, the Minnesota North Stars did play the Calgary Flames all the way back in 1981, back when the franchise was the Minnesota North Stars. And the Calgary Flames, first season in Calgary from Alana, was playing in the Stampede Corral there. And the Minnesota North Stars did defeat the Calgary Flames in 6 there, when the Minnesota North Stars made their first appearance to the Stanley Cup final there. So definitely revenge in the making, 39 years later. That's just something, neat to talk about that. So now let's get to the schedule here. We'll take a look at the schedule. This is the next part here. As now we're in the playoffs here, you're all going to be best of 7 now. The play-in series was a best of 5 here, and the round robin was 4 teams, each respective conference there, the top 4 in the regular season. They played each other against once there, and then they were seeded based on records. And if the tiebreaker was needed, which was never used, it was based on regular season percentage here. So game 1, let's time to mark your calendars here. And now with the Dallas Stars being the higher seeded here, they will get home ice advantage, if that makes a difference here. And based on what we've seen in the playoffs here, it kind of doesn't mean anything, because all the games will be played in Rogers Place up in Edmonton here. So game 1 will be on Thursday, August 11th here, as that game will be at 3:30 at Rogers Place. And Dallas will be the home team, if you can call it that. And then game 2 will be on Thursday, August the 13th here, and Dallas once again will be the home team. That game will start at 8:30. All times will be Mountain Time here. And then game 3 will be on the next night here on Friday, August the 14th here, to have a back-to-back here. Now the Calgary Flames will be the home team the next 2 games. That will also be an 8:30 puck drop there. So it'll be back-to-back, but you get 24 hours in between, depending on if overtime happens or not here, which, based on the matchup here, we're definitely going to see some overtime. And then game 4 would be on Sunday, August the 16th here. We'll have some afternoon delight here, as that game will start at noon, all at Rogers Place there. So that's the first 4 games here. Now if we need game 5, this would be on Thursday, August 18th, and Dallas will be considered the home team here. Well, just like the last series here, once the games that were in if necessary territory here, it's to be determined. I guess it all depends on rink availability and how the other series go here. And then game 6, if we need a game 6, Calgary will be considered the home team here. It'll be on Thursday, August the 20th, and that game is TBD, for to be determined, if you need that. And then if this needs all 7 games, and Dallas will be the home team there, all home team needs to get is they get to wear their dark jerseys and get last change here. That will be on Saturday, August 22nd. TBD for that. So I'll just say once again, take a look at NHL.com or CalgaryFlames.com or even DallasStars.com for your site there, or your program guides for once those teams, if those games are needed here. So that's the schedule here. So now I'll bring up the app here. We'll take a look at the player stats here, and we'll look at both the regular season and the playoffs here, shall we? And then I think if we go further on, we'll just look at the playoffs going forward here, just to continue on here. If we do continue on here, so for the goal leader here, well, Elias Lindholm led the Flames in goals with 29 here. Johnny Gaudreau led the team in assists with 40, and Matthew Tkachuk led the team when it comes to points with 61 here. So that was the stats for the Dallas Stars here. And then when it comes to the Calgary Flames, now when it comes to the Dallas Stars here, I'll bring it up here in the regular season. When it comes to points here, which definitely could be a factor in the series, is Tyler Seguin led the team in points with 50 here. However, he was a little banged up here, and could he be available here? And definitely, if he comes in, I know the Calgary Flames physical play definitely could target that. I mean, Jamie Benn was second with 39 there, and then Miro Heiskanen, the defenseman there, runs at the top 3 at 35 here. And then the goals here was Dennis Garinoff, who actually led the team in scoring goals for Dallas at 20. And then you have Jamie Benn and Ropey Hintz with 19 each there. And assists was Tyler Seguin led the team with 33. And then Miro Heiskanen with 27, John Klingberg. Another player that isn't 100% here with 26 here. So that is your leaders for your Dallas Stars there. So when it comes to goalies here, well, we don't know exactly who's going to play there because Anton Khudobin, he played 2 games in the round robin. Ben Bishop got 1 there, and he was real unfit to play, whatever that means in the round robin here. But when it comes to the goaltending stats here, Anton Khudobin, who was in net for the Dallas Stars in 30 games here, he was 16-8-4 with a .222 goals against average and .930 save percentage here. And then when it comes to Ben Bishop, he was in 44 games for the Dallas Stars. He was 21-16-4 for the .250 goals against average and a .920 save percentage here. So definitely see some great goaltending that you've had from the Dallas Stars here. But now, that was the quick look at the regular season here. But when it comes to playoffs here, well, when it comes to goals, I mean, Sean Mayan, Michael Backlund, Elias Lindholm, John Gaudreau, and Sam Bennett all each had 2 goals. And then Sean Mayan led the way with 4 assists here. And then when it comes to points here, well, Sean Mayan had 6 points. And then Nanja Mangiapane, Milan Lucic each had 4 points. Michael Backlund and Elias Lindholm each had 3 there. And then when it comes to the Dallas Stars, when it comes to the playoffs here, or round robin, once I bring it up here, play that. I mean, Miro Heiskanen, he had 4 points in the round robin there. Joe Pavelski only had 2, and Joe Pavelski actually scored the tying goal in the round robin in the last minute against St. Louis. So thanks to Joe Pavelski for scoring that goal in the last minute there to give me the matchup that I want there. He definitely has a big game presence from his San Jose days there. And then when it comes to assists, here is Miro Heiskanen, who has 4 assists there. And other players that scored a goal here, well, Jamie Alexiak, who actually is the brother of Penny Alexiak, the swinner for Team Canada. And then Corey Perry, that's definitely one player that we might have to watch because he definitely has some Anaheim history there. And then when it comes to the goaltending for the Dallas Stars here, which I'll have to bring up Cam Talbot's, but in the playoffs here, his goals against was .242, while Ben Bishop was .407 here. So it's hard to say who the Dallas Stars is ultimately going to go with. But when it comes to the Calgary Flames, when it comes to the goaltending, I think obviously they're going to be going with Cam Talbot here, as he has a .151 save goals against average and a .945 save percentage with a 3-1 record from the play-in series here. So we'll have to see who Dallas is going with, but Cam Talbot definitely is going to be going with for the Calgary Flames here. So that's it's just some quick player stats going all over here, but I think going forward here, if we go further on, it'll be more relevant to see what the teams do in the playoffs here, but we'll still take a look at, matchup in terms of team stats and season series, and let's say if indeed the Calgary Flames do go on here. So let's just set up the whole playoffs here for everybody, as the Calgary Flames are one of the 16 teams that's still moving on here. So when it comes to the Eastern Conference here, well, the Montreal Canadiens, they upset the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-1 here. And then the Carolina Hurricanes, they swept the New York Rangers 3-0 there. And then the New York Islanders, they definitely made it easy as the Florida Panthers, as they won it in 3-1. And then ultimately it was the Columbus Blue Jackets. They knocked out the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 here. I think the frustrating thing would definitely be for the Toronto Maple Leafs is not only for the lack of the playoff success here, but the fact when you're spending over $50 million on 4 forwards and you get shut out in 2 of those 5 games, that hurts. Sorry, Toronto. Now in the Western Conference here, well, I'm not so sorry what happened in this series, given where my allegiance is, but the Chicago Blackhawks, they upset the Edmonton Oilers 3-1. So definitely a lot of big stars aren't going to be in the final 16 here, but it's definitely going to be intriguing hockey to still watch here. And then the Arizona Coyotes, you could say they did a little bit of an upset of the National Predators. They won 3-1. And then the Vancouver Canucks, they beat the Minnesota Wild 3-1, and then the Calgary Flames beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-1 here. So in terms of Canadian team content here, you still have Vancouver and Calgary in the Western Conference and just Montreal in the Eastern Conference. So 3 out of 16 are Canadian teams, but it's going to still be tough for Canada to win the Stanley Cup. And then when it comes to the round robin in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia was a perfect 3-0, so that they got the number 1 seed. And since the Philadelphia Flyers got the number 1 seed there, and Montreal pulled off the upset as they were the number 12 seed, Philadelphia will be drawing the Montreal Canadiens for the first series in the Eastern Conference. So definitely be intriguing to see it. It could be a flashback to the 1970s. The second seed, who finished second in the round robin, was the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the Tampa Bay Lightning will be taking on the number 9 seeded Columbus Blue Jackets for the second straight year. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets meet in the first round here. So hopefully we'll have a little better series, or maybe Tampa Bay might have revenge on their mind. They definitely played strong in their round robin. I think Tampa Bay, I still like them to possibly go on and win the Stanley Cup here, even without Victor Edmonton or Steven Stamkos right away. And then the Washington Capitals, they were 1-1-1 in the round robin. They actually moved up to number 3 in the round robin. I believe they were 4th going in to the round robin. So they actually moved up. Tampa Bay actually stayed in 2nd, and Philadelphia upgraded to number 1. As the Washington Capitals, well, they'll be drawing the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders were the 6th seeded in the Eastern Conference. The only thing that could be interesting in that series is the Barry Trotz, as Barry Trotz is now the coach of the New York Islanders. He used to coach the Washington Capitals just a couple of years ago when they were hoisting the Stanley Cup here. And then the last place, Boston Bruins, they went 0-3 in the round robin. They get to draw the Carolina Hurricanes, and definitely Boston and Carolina has had a lot of recent history. And last season, if you recall, the Carolina Hurricanes got swept by the Boston Bruins in the conference championship. So I think Boston could be right for the taking for the Carolina Hurricanes. Boston slipped from 1 to 4 when it comes to the round robin. As Boston, as you remember, they won the President's Trophy as the best regular season record. So now if we shift our focus to the West, there was a couple upsets. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights, they wound up sweeping the round robin and take the number 1 seed. I think they were 3rd, so they moved up to 1 here, as they were 3-0. So the Vegas Golden Knights will be taking on the Chicago Blackhawks here. It'll be interesting to see how that series will play out. And then in second place, it was the Colorado Avalanche. I believe they stayed where they are, as they were 2-0-1. As Vegas and Colorado, they also played in the last round robin game. That needed overtime, and Colorado, they will be drawing the Arizona Coyotes, so it'll definitely be interesting to see how the upstart Arizona Coyotes could take on the powerhouse Colorado Avalanche. In my mind, I think the Colorado Avalanche is still the top team in the Western Conference. And now the Dallas Stars, that's who they draw, the Calgary Flames. Dallas Stars actually moved up to number 3, and they were 1-2, as I mentioned at the beginning there, as they were the number 3 seed taking on the number 8 seed. And then the St. Louis Blues, I'd actually be a little concerned that they slipped from 1 to 4. Just kind of similar to the Boston Bruins, where they slipped from 1 to 4 in the round robin. While the St. Louis Blues, they were 0-2-1, as the Dallas Stars St. Louis Blues, they played the last game in the scheduled round robin, and that game went to a shootout here. And the St. Louis Blues, they will draw the Vancouver Canucks, and with the Vancouver Canucks, being high on knocking off the Minnesota Wild and getting in the playoffs, and it looked like if we didn't have this pause here, Vancouver was slipping and might have missed the playoffs, so it might be another lifeline there. So it'll be interesting to see how those series break out here. After this video, I'll make my bracket, my official bracket challenge. I'll make my picks, and we'll see if it compares, because I made my pre-bracket challenge, but I also counted the round robin and playing series, and then did the whole gauntlet. Now the official bracket challenge is out, so I'll make that video and see how many picks are different if you compare the videos there, and do I still have the same teams in the Stanley Cup final and same Stanley Cup champion. So my final thoughts here in the series is, obviously I was definitely hoping for this matchup because I definitely like the Calgary Flames' chances in this series coming up with the Dallas Stars, because I feel when it comes to breaking down the facets of the game, we definitely have the edge when it comes to the offense, as the Calgary Flames in the regular season and just so far what we had in the playoffs from the play-in series. The Calgary Flames definitely have the edge when it comes to offense with the ability there, and still got Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and even Milan Lucic. He's definitely proving a lot more valuable for the Calgary Flames than James Neal was for the Edmonton Oilers, that they're not in the playoffs anymore. Yeah, he did score 3 goals, but it weren't really impactful. While Milan Lucic definitely showed up in his physical presence there, and Matthew Tkachuk definitely, see if he'd be utilized both with his, physical and his get under the opponent's skin as well. He might be counted on for more offense here. I mean, you don't know about Tyler Seguin or Klingberg or Haskinen there, but the offense definitely goes to the Calgary Flames. Defensively here, it's almost a toss-up. I mean, Calgary has a deep defensive core here, but Dallas, they play a more defensive system. They were definitely stingy there. So that could be a toss-up here depending on how the series go. And then goaltending here, that's also hard to say. I mean, based on what we've seen just in the playoffs, you might have to give the edge to the Calgary Flames. Cam Talbot looks like he's in the zone, and he definitely looks like the Cam Talbot that the Edmonton Oilers had in 2017 when they got to the second round and lost in Game 7 to the Anaheim Ducks here. But, I mean, because probably is there going to be Anton Khudobin or Ben Bishop? I mean, actually the Flames do well against Ben Bishop, so I'm likely going to think Anton Khudobin will be the goalie that Dallas is probably going to go with here. He played more games in the round robin, but Ben Bishop was fit not to play one game. So when it comes to goaltending, I think right now I actually would give the edge to the Calgary Flames. And then when it comes to the power play and penalty kill and special teams, I would have to give the edge to the Calgary Flames as well there, as the Calgary has a stronger penalty kill. I mean, the power play numbers recently in the playoffs look comparable here, but Calgary definitely did a better job in the penalty kill than the Dallas Stars did. However, there's the fact that Calgary had to be in the play-in series to get into the playoffs. Well, Dallas knew that they were going to the playoffs as a round robin here, which that might be the other X factor is, Calgary's going to be more battle-tested, as they definitely, found their game against the Winnipeg Jets, and they played in more meaningful games than the Dallas Stars did in the round robin, and Calgary definitely looked a lot better. And then obviously physical play, well, Calgary definitely has the edge in that. Tkachuk, Lucic, Andrew Mangiapane there, alone there, and of course, you got Mark Giordano, the complete defenseman there. I mean, it depends on, also Tyler Seguin, Klingberg, if they're 100% there, if they get them off their game. I would say not to piss off Corey Perry and Jamie Benn too much. I mean, as long as Calgary can target them legally, let's just playoff hockey. Is if someone's not 100%, try to take advantage of that, especially in the series here. But I like this matchup, and ultimately, I actually like the Calgary Flames to advance, and I think it'll definitely be a 6-7 game series, but I'm going to like the Calgary Flames to advance in this matchup here. But what do you think about this matchup? And, they call this the, Battle of Alberta and Texas, the Western Battle, the Oil Battle here. I mean, definitely isn't as exciting of a headline, because I break that down in that video where I looked at who I want to play in the first round. However, it'd be nice that I like this matchup, and maybe put off against playing maybe a St. Louis or Colorado or Vegas later in the playoffs, which might be juicier then. But I still feel that this series favors Calgary, and the fact that Calgary still has, they're under a little more pressure because Dallas has always been looked upon as that dark horse team. And I would still feel that if we still laid another egg or a stinky dump against Dallas like we did against Colorado, I would say we only advanced just a little further, and then still potentially changes the core here. But based on what I saw from the Winnipeg series and how Dallas looked in the round robin, and they do have some potential injuries with their key players here, I think we should take this one. But you never know, it's 2020 and it's been a crazy playoffs here, but we're under unusual times here. So yeah, this will be episode 17, and next episode, for episode number 18, we'll be recapping what happened, hopefully as winners, and then I'll just keep repeating the process until we win the Stanley Cup. May I dare dream. So anyway, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and mostly talk Calgary sports on my channel here. And thanks to everyone who's watched my content a lot more recently here. Is definitely been nice to talk sports actually happening and recapping it there. And I also do throw in some personal blogs. Talk about whatever's on my mind, and sometimes do some attempt at comedy, and I also do share my experience on the road as sport fan. So that's all I post on my channel here. So if it all sounds like you'd be interested to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, what you need to do, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below here, and I just enjoy making videos here. I just want to keep continuing on, keep growing, and showing my love for Calgary sports and all my experiences here. I mean, one of the things you always do when you're making videos here is you're still trying to find your style and find yourself here. I know, for example, I might say there or here a lot here, but I mean, I'm sorry, it just seems to come out that way. That might be something I'll still want to try to work on, but I think that's no different than, let's say, I used to have a teacher in high school that teach social studies. I always said anyways, or I had a colleague that recently retired. After he had a discussion, he always ends off with anywho. Or I've also had some coworkers, in the past, that always cleared their throat loud. That if they did a video like this, you always hear a every 30 seconds. So I know I might still say those things on videos, but it's just I'm just explaining things, and it's like here, there, everywhere. So it is what it is. Everyone has their own style, and everyone just has their thing they say there. So let's just say Yahoo for the all-Western battle here between the Calgary Flames and the Dallas Stars. Which Cowboys will be happier here? Cowboys represent Alberta, or the Cowboys represent Texas here? And as I say, I'll see you in the next video. Go Flames go, and enjoy the playoffs and the series here. And hopefully episode 18 will be just as happy as it was in the last episode, talking about a win and who we get to play in the second round. So I'll see you then.